On the news, Nigerian Air Force airstrikes kill scores of terrorists in Borno State. INEC fixes dates for Ekiti and Osun State governorship elections. And NAVDA announces fee for reopening of shops in Onitsha drug market. It's a pleasure to have you join us now on TV 360 Nigeria. I am Victoria Akonde. Now kicking off with security matters, scores of terrorists have been killed by the Nigerian Air Force airstrikes from its operatives with Operation Adinkai and destroyed their stronghold in Borno State. The service air mission carried out in the early hours of Friday was conducted on fleeing Boko Haram elements in Bita, a known insurgent enclave in the northeast. A statement on Friday issued by the Director of Public Relations and Information of the NAF headquarters, Eyi Major Dame, explained that the coordinated air assault marks a substantial milestone in efforts to degrade the operational capacity of the terrorists threatening national security in the region. The statement further explained that the Nigerian Air Force, through the air component of Operation Adinkai, has recorded a major operational success against Boko Haram terrorists. And as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu marks 2 years in office, Nigerians continue to assess it as administration's performance across various sectors. One of those weighing in is Muda Yusuf, the Chief Executive Officer of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, who shared his thoughts in an exclusive interview with TV 360 Nigeria. Yusuf noted that while there have been notable improvements on the macroeconomic front, especially when compared to the state of affairs inherited by the Tinubu administration, key challenges remain. He acknowledged efforts to rebuild a broken system, commending some of the economic reforms implemented so far. However, he stressed that productivity remains low due to poor infrastructure, which continues to hinder significant economic progress.
The administration inherited practically a broken macroeconomic situation, where the external sector practically collapsed. The fiscals were in a very terrible shape. The balance of payment position was in a very terrible state as well. So the economic fundamentals were practically broken. So we can say that in the last 2 years, part of the things that have been achieved is trying to fix these broken macroeconomic fundamentals. And that is why one could at least give some credit to the administration for the restoration of some stabilization, restoration of some stability around the macroeconomic conditions, particularly when we look at the exchange rate, for instance, the slight deceleration in inflation, the improvement in the fiscal position, the improvement in the balance of payment position. So if you look at it at that level, I mean, we can score the performance to be fairly good. But if you look at it from the point of view of productivity and production, productivity is still a very big issue in this economy, which is affecting competitiveness, cost of production, cost of goods and services, and all of that. So productivity is still a major issue. And the productivity issues are driven largely by the infrastructure condition. Again, one can also argue that it's not easy to fix all the infrastructure situation within a space of 2 years, because we have seen a decadence over the decades of this infrastructure. On the social front, talking now about the cost of living, the welfare of the citizens, the reforms had been very devastating. Our cost of living has gone very, very high because of inflation, cost of transportation, and all of that. So it has really affected the poverty situation, so much so that you have a lot more people in poverty. So the pain, particularly among the vulnerable segments of the society, have been very, very considerable and significant.
In Lagos State, as Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's second term clocks 2 years, residents and policy experts are taking stock of his administration's achievement and calling attention to lingering challenges. With the government's performance under review, the spotlight is on the implementation of the Themes Plus agenda, a roadmap that promised not just continuity, but expansion across key sectors in Lagos. TV360's Okpayemi Osheni has more details in this next report.
Launched at the start of its second term in May 2023, Themes Plus, which stands for Transportation, Health, Education, a 21st Century Economy, Entertainment and Tourism, and Security, with the plus signifying a renewed commitment to social inclusion, gender equality, and youth empowerment, set a high bar for governance. 2 years on, residents have acknowledged notable strides, particularly in road upgrades and initiatives like the Ilera Eco Cooperative Health Scheme.
To me, I love Lagos, so I wouldn't lie to you. I love Lagos because when it comes to security, maybe with this area I live at Allen here, Ikeja here. So I never panic anytime I'm going out because I know I'm safe.
His performance was okay. He really did well. In the aspect of road construction, he tried his best and he did very well. I love his performance.
Won't really try?
Yeah, he's been doing enough. He's been doing enough, especially in terms of road network, transportation. He's been trying, but he should do more about it.
He's trying. He's trying. He's doing his possible best. Things are not hard or like other states. So we are appreciating him, just asking him to put more effort to it.
Sectoral experts have also lauded improvements in education and infrastructure, but expressed concerns about the housing deficit and poor environmental sanitation. They are urging the government to take decisive action on waste management and urban cleanliness.
In terms of sectoral analysis, I think they've done something good by improving on the infrastructure, particularly road infrastructure in Lagos State. However, they've not done anything with respect to housing. And unfortunately, the government was trying to come up with regulations to regulate how private investors in the real estate can determine what they collect, when even the government itself has not built houses. In the area of environment, this is the truth. It's so hard for people to believe it. I'm not sure this government has done something in terms of the cleanliness and the hygiene of Lagos. That's the truth. Lagos is smelling. I'm a Lagosian. I'm a proper Lagosian, proper Lagos indigene. I'm not what is called an Atonriwa. So I can speak, and I'm not an obediot. I'm a proper Lagos indigene. Now, Lagos, in terms of the hygiene, the environmental issue concerning Lagos, you have not really done well. And I think that the last 2 years, the government needs to look at it. Look at what Fashola administration did. Look at what Ambode administration did with respect to the environmental issues, waste management, and the rest of it, so that we manage the waste.
Across the state, Lagosians are calling for more cheaper transportation, more youth employment opportunities, and greater investment in sport and community development.
Doing enough. He's been doing enough, especially in terms of road network, transportation. He's been trying, but he should do more about it.
When it comes to food aspect, transportation, then jobs, because some of these are little. Some doesn't even work. We working are complaining. People that don't work, they have much more to complain.
We youth, we need things happening, sports, like let him please put on in sports, most especially. We have youth there, she understand. All those kind of things.
While progress has been made, the next 2 years will be critical for the Sanwo-Olu administration to translate its vision into lasting impact. Okpayemi Osheni, TV360 News, Lagos.
Moving on to electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has scheduled the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun State for June 20 and August 8, 2026, respectively. Mahmood Yakubu, the INEC chairman, announced the dates on Friday during the swearing-in ceremony of 6 newly appointed resident electoral commissioners. Yakubu said, in line with the requirements of the law, the Commission is obligated to publish the notices for major elections not later than 360 days before the date fixed for the election. He said in compliance with the law, the Commission has approved the timetable and schedule of activities for the Ekiti and Osun state governorship elections. Now, experts have commended the Nigerian government's decision to suspend the Nigerian Air Project, calling it a step in the right direction. According to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, the current administration is focused on implementing reforms that will strengthen and support local aviation operators. Speaking exclusively to TV360 Nigeria, the General Secretary of the Aviation Roundtable, Olumide Onwayo, described the Nigerian Air Project as a sham. He stated that the airline was never truly positioned to serve as a national carrier, but rather appeared designed to benefit select interests.
For the Nigerian Air Project, I think that the present government got it right. That project was a sham. It was not properly positioned to help and fix the problem of Nigeria, and it was not positioned to be a Nigerian carrier, but a carrier, having the national carrier status, while actually was going to benefit some few individuals who had come behind to sign a deal and give themselves the shares. Again, Ethiopian Airlines was just going to use that airline as a feeder airline to its own to Ethiopian airline network. So that's not the kind of national carrier we want, and that's not the one we envisage. And that was why the industry rose against this. Others went to court, and when this government came in, they promptly and rightly stopped that project.
And in other stories, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAVDA, has debunked speculation surrounding the charges imposed during recent enforcement operations at the open drug markets in the country. In a press conference on Friday, the Director General of the agency, Mojisola Adeyeye, said the agency clarified that all charges levied against defaulters at the Onitsha, Aba and Idumota drug markets were in line with the federal government-approved regulations. According to NAVDA, 2 key administrative charges were enforced: an investigative fee of 5 million naira for the sale of unregistered products, which was later reduced to 200,000 naira after pleas, and a separate 2 million naira charge for violating good storage and distribution practices, also reduced to 500,000 naira. The agency also disclosed that the affected shops and warehouses did not meet the basic standards of operation and had no proof of registration with the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, violating existing drug laws.
The public will recall the recent enforcement operation in 3 open drug markets in Nigeria, Idumota, Aba, and Onitsha, where banned, expired, falsified and substandard medicines, including narcotics, worth more than 1 trillion naira. More importantly, there was no proof of registration of these open drug market premises by the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, PCN, a clear contravention violation of the pertinent extant law of the Federation. It is imperative to state unequivocally that the agency acted strictly within its statutory mandate to safeguard the health of Nigerians. The decision to seal shops and impose investigative charges followed painstaking surveillance and intelligence, which revealed large-scale stocking and distribution of fake, substandard, banned, unregistered medicines, including narcotics, in direct violation of national regulations and public safety. The decision to seal shops and impose investigative charges followed painstaking surveillance and intelligence that revealed large-scale stocking and distribution of medicines that will kill our people.
Moving on, The Nigeria Computer Society (NCS) has officially announced the 19th edition of its flagship international conference, Connovate 2025, scheduled to hold from August 11 to 14, 2025 in Kano State, Nigeria. The announcement was made during a press briefing held in Lagos by the NCS President Mohammed Aliyu. In his remarks, Aliyu says the event, which is themed Intelligent, Secure and Sustainable Innovations for a Connected World, is positioned to be Nigeria's premier technology event and one of the most influential IT gatherings in Africa. Also speaking at the press briefing, the Chairman Conferences Committee NCS Saidat Adebukola revealed that the conference will feature engaging parallel tracks showcasing cutting-edge research and innovations in various fields of computer science.
Conference focus and subthemes. Connovate will provide a dynamic platform to explore innovative approach to global challenges. Key subthemes include artificial intelligence and machine learning, cyber security and data privacy, blockchain and cryptography, sustainable and green technology, Internet of Things, cloud computing and big data analytics, robotics and automation, smart cities, and digital transformations.
We're planning demo session. You see, in NCS we encourage, IT development, and we encourage the youth. So the youth will be engaged in bringing whatever innovation they have, and they will have to demonstrate. So in this case, we're going to encourage youth to also be participants at the conference by showcasing what they have. And one thing is, there is also going to be exhibition. We cannot be talking about innovation and not seeing it. So there will be innovative technologies.
There's no doubt that the world is gradually becoming a global village. In fact, we can say it's a global village now, which was why I really love this year's theme, innovation for connected world. So the world is already being connected, and this year we have heard that we have expertise in the fields that are coming. There's going to be a lot of global networking opportunities, because the program is going to be an hybrid, and we are bringing in so many people from the international landscape, and they are coming to tell us how things are done when it comes to connecting the world from an international perspective.
Now we'll take a short break. Coming up on News Now, Team Delta wins for the 5th consecutive time at the 2024 Gateway Games as Sports Festival comes to an end. Stay with us for details. Welcome back. Here's a brief recap of our main stories. Scores of terrorists have been killed by the Nigerian Air Force airstrikes from its operatives with Operation Adinkai and destroyed their stronghold in Borno State. The service air mission carried out in the early hours of Friday was conducted on fleeing Boko Haram elements in Bita, a known insurgent enclave in the northeast. We also told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has scheduled the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun State for June 20 and August 8, 2026 respectively. Mahmoud Yakubu, the INEC chairman, announced the dates on Friday during the swearing-in ceremony of 6 newly appointed resident electoral commissioners. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are at TV360 Online. It's now time for business news, and Joy Uchejim is on standby. Joy, what's the latest?
Thank you, Victoria, and welcome to Business News. Now, President Bola Tinubu has issued a new executive order to lower project costs, attract investments, and enhance revenues from oil and gas operations. In a statement on Thursday, the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Energy said the order tagged the Upstream Petroleum Operations Cost Efficiency Incentives Order 2025 also caps tax credits to firms at 20%. As a form of government incentive, a tax credit is the amount of money a company can subtract from the income tax it owes to the state. According to the statement, the EO introduces performance-based tax incentives for upstream operators who deliver verifiable cost savings aligned with defined industry benchmarks. We'll now take a short break and return with stock market reports. Welcome back. Now, as the curtains fell on the final trading day of the week, the Nigerian equities market wrapped up on a somber note, edging down by 0.07%. With this marginal decline, the overall market cap now stands at 70.4 trillion naira. Now, out of the 128 equities traded on the Nigerian exchange, 27 stocks declined while 37 advanced, tipping the balance in favor of the bears. Now, Better Glass Company led the laggers, tumbling by 10% to close at 232.65 naira per share, trailing close by NCR Nigeria. Now, despite the dip in market sentiment, the trading floor was abuzz with activity. The session saw a remarkable 1 billion shares exchanged across 18,653 deals, and this marks a massive 242% surge in volume and a 274% spike in turnover compared to the previous day's performance, suggesting heightened investor interest even in a declining market. Now, beyond Nigeria's shores, global markets were jittery. On Wall Street, major indices were weighed down by renewed geopolitical tensions after U.S. President Donald Trump accused China of breaching a key tariff agreement. As the ripple effect, two of our benchmark global indices, the Nikkei in Japan and the Dow Jones in the U.S., closed in the red. Defying the downtrend, the UK's FTSE managed to post gains, emerging as the outlier. Meanwhile, in the foreign exchange markets, the naira continued its downward drift, with the US dollar trading at 1,320 naira, the British pound at 2,015 naira, and the euro at 1,720 naira. And that's global business and stock market updates. Back to you, Victoria, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Joy, for that update. Now, moving on to the global scene. Trade tensions between the United States and China flared up once more on Friday as President Donald Trump accused Beijing of violating a recent agreement aimed at reducing tariffs. Posting on his Truth Social platform, Trump declared that China has totally violated its agreement made with the U.S., though he did not provide specific details. His comments came just after U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Fox News that trade negotiations with China were at a bit stalled. The renewed friction threatens to unravel a fragile truce struck earlier this month when officials from both nations agreed to a 90-day pause on escalating tariffs following talks on Geneva. Still on the global scene, India's foreign ministry has confirmed that more than 1,000 Indian nationals have either returned or been deported from the United States since January 2025. According to ministry spokesperson, about 62% of them came back on commercial flights, though further details were not provided. The development follows U.S. President Donald Trump's intensified crackdown on undocumented migrants. Earlier this year, over 100 Indians were deported on a U.S. military flight, with reports alleging some were returned in shackles. And finally, on sports, Delta State has once again stamped its authority in Nigerian sports, finishing top at the just concluded 2024 National Sports Festival, also known as the Gateway Games. The biennial competition, hosted this year by Ogun State, brought together thousands of athletes from across the country, showcasing Nigeria's sporting talent and unity. With Enugu State announced as the next host, attention now turns to what lies ahead of Nigeria's sporting calendar. TV360's Mudaishiru Shitu files in this report.
12 days of fierce competition, camaraderie, and colorful moments, the 22nd edition of the National Sports Festival has drawn to a close in Ogun State, and once again Team Delta takes home the crown. With a total haul of 126 gold, 100 silver, and 111 bronze medals, Delta State maintained its 5-time dominance at the top of Nigeria's sporting pyramid. Ogun, the host state, delivered a strong showing, finishing second with 93 gold, 65 silver, and 80 bronze medals. Bayelsa came third with 92 gold, while Lagos, with over 1,000 athletes and officials, placed 7th overall. The closing ceremony, held at the newly upgraded MKO Abiola Stadium in Abeokuta, was a spectacle of aerobatic displays, music, and celebration. Representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senate President Godswill Akpabio officially declared the games closed.
Tourism, health, and national pride. Yet in Africa, the contribution of sports to the GDP stands at a modest 0.5%. This reveals a broad gap, and an opportunity is there for all to embrace. It is a call to action for government, for schools, for private investors, and corporate organizations to recognize sports not just as a leisure, but as they should leverage on it for national development.
Governor Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun State used the occasion to thank the president and commend the athletes for the discipline and the spirit of sportsmanship that defines the festival.
It has taken an entire state, united in purpose, to deliver an experience that our nation will not forget in a hurry. To our athletes, our valiant young men and women, the shining stars of this festival, whether you depart with medals hanging from your necks, or you simply with the pride of your participation, you are all champions. You have not only competed, you have inspired. You have embodied the true essence of sports, where excellence meets honor and discipline meets grace.
Also speaking was the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, who praised the organization and impact of the event, noting that it once again demonstrated the power of sports to unite and inspire.
Athletes from every corner of this great country have competed with passion, dignity, and respect, not just for their state of origin, but for any state of their choice, thereby deepening our collective coexistence and togetherness and one people and one destiny. They have not only broken records, they have broken barriers and built bridges across communities.
As the spotlight now shifts to Enugu, the first southeastern host in almost a decade, expectations are high that the next edition will build on the legacy of the 2024 Games and further elevate Nigeria's national sporting identity. Joy Ucheje, TV 360, Lagos.
And that wraps up our bulletin of news now. Many thanks for joining us. See you next time.